Today I'll be doing a comparison on the two Atom Edges. So we have the 48cc one, which is powered by a Mitsubishi 2-stroke engine, and the 35cc Honda powered 4-stroke engine. Both these machines, they do have the same frame on them, so the same commercial frame. I do believe the new ones have switched to a different design, but these are the older models. So starting from this end, we have the cross blades. It's got a bash guard there, so that's good. This is the blade guard, I guess you'd describe it, which is good. Only thing I will say is periodically this will fill up with dirt and it will clog up underneath. Especially if the conditions are muddy, it will make a mess. So one thing to keep an eye out for. When these blades they work their way back until they reach the hole, that's when they should be changed, but up until that point you're pretty much good to go. The more you use it, I find it's better to lower the height as the blades wear down, so you get the maximum productivity out of your blades, I guess. The wheels are good. I haven't had to replace any because I barely use them really anyway. I only work about 1 to 2 days a week usually. So yeah, these are great. It rolls really nicely. Moving my way down, we've got a nice carry handle here. The anti-vibration system here, which is completely dampened by these things here, which is nice. This bolts on. I thought initially you might be able to fold it or something, because they do have like a thumb screw to tighten it, which is interesting given you can't really fold it up or anything, which will be very beneficial, especially for storage. So that would definitely be nice, but oh well, it's not really essential. Moving up here, sort of the engines are mounted. So this one has the 35cc Honda commercial GX35 engine on it. Really nice and easy to start. Runs on unleaded petrol. Has a little oil reservoir here. That will focus for me, which it will. So that's really nice in that sense that I don't have to worry about using mixed fuel. It starts really nice and easy. Doesn't have heaps of power. That's my one gripe with this. It does struggle if you're in overgrown edges, but for your fortnightly or monthly maintenance or whatever you're normally doing, this does go pretty well. It also depends how deep you go with the blades, so that does play a part in it as well. You've got your choke here, primer bulb, fuel lines obviously. It's got a rather nice sized fuel tank, so it's not too bad on fuel. Start switch here. Got your sort of safety device you have to push down before you rev it. One thing I will say about these things here, which I believe go to the handlebar here where the stop-start switch is. If you do pull on them or anything like that, or they snag, they can come out or something like dislodges, and then the stop switch won't work. And in that case, you sort of push it in, or you can just choke it and it will usually turn off. But that's not a massive issue. That's just something I found, and obviously that's down to me, not really the machine. So once again, I have to thank Dan from DPH for doing a giveaway in which I won this thing. So you can thank him for this video, because otherwise I wouldn't have this machine to compare to this one. Now, this is the one that I purchased a while back now, about Christmas. So this is the 585. It's got a 48cc 2-stroke engine, as I mentioned earlier. So the frame I'm not going to cover again, as that's literally exactly the same as this one. So I'll go from the engine back. So it's got a rather large size fuel tank. Does quite well on fuel. I'd say it does equally as good, if not better, than the Honda, which is quite good given it is quite a large 2-stroke, 48cc engine and stuff. Because these are renowned for going through fuel, and that's the whole Honda thing, is that it doesn't go through much fuel. It's better for the environment, etc., which it may be. But as far as the fuel, I don't know if the size of the tank is any different or anything, but this does go very well on fuel. Got your choke here. It's alright, but I must admit I do prefer the Honda choke. Just a bit easier to flick up and down in my opinion, and this one's a bit harder on your finger, and just micro little gripes I've got to say. So this one has the same issue with the stop start, in the sense that sometimes it does disconnect. Oh my lord, this is not focused, is it? One thing I will say as well with this is it is a bit of a nightmare to start. It has a lot of compression, whereas when you compare that to this one, oh, that was quite nice. I haven't even choked that either. So that gives you an idea on the difference when it comes to starting. Much nicer this one is to start. But once it gets going, this does eat it for breakfast. So there is a power difference, which is evident. This is what I use for all my overgrown lawns. You know, as well, also use it for regulars. Just depends what I have with me in the day. I like to change it up and mix it up, so it's nice to run a bit of both. What else have I got to say about this engine? Rev's really high. Just for maintenance, like 2 weekly jobs, this thing is like revving its, you know, the life out of it. Whereas this one is a bit nicer to use, a bit more of a mellow tone. You're not just annoying everyone with a screaming 2-stroke engine. But yeah, the negatives, so the cons for the 48 are definitely starting. It's a bit of a pain. It is quite a bit, oh, it's not quite a bit, it's a touch heavier than the 35. Another thing I've noticed. Yeah, once again, it does rev incredibly high when you're doing, you know, not overgrown, just regular cuts, which pro, con, whatever. But moving on to the pros for this, it has heaps of power. You don't, like, this thing's great. It doesn't matter what shape the edge is in, this will tackle it, which is really nice. But that's pretty much the main pro is just a lot of power. I guess you don't have to change the oil as well. That's another good thing. Whereas this, you do have to change oil. And I have heard a lot of things where people go through a lot of these engines because they're a lot more high maintenance. You've obviously got valves and stuff, whereas this is just quite basic. So less serviceability, that's a massive pro for this one. Pros for the Honda, it's lighter, starts heaps better. I reckon it sounds nicer. This can be a pro or con. You're not using 2-stroke, which I guess that one's up to you. Yeah, so that's, you know, the cons as well. You're looking at a lot less power in the top end. And yeah, obviously you've got a lot more serviceability, and the cost, etc. And, you know, doing your valves or paying someone to do it is going to be a lot more. I think this one retails for mid 700s, I think 750-ish. And that one is 850-ish, I think. So there's a bit of a price difference, but it depends what sort of person you are as well. If you're the sort of person that does maintenance with an edger, this is good, and there's nothing wrong with this. But if you're the sort of person that just gets it back in line and then whip snips it, that's the one you want, because this thing just does not go as well when it comes to overgrown stuff. And I was quite surprised because I've been used to this, gave this a shot, and I was shocked in the power difference. So you sort of know what you want to do with it. If I could only have one, it would 100% be that. But I am glad I have this, and I'm glad it gives me the opportunity to mix it up every now and then. So, you know, it makes it more interesting just using different stuff here and there. And it's better for if one breaks, I have another one, etc. So if one goes down, I'll be right. Yeah, that's about all I've got to say. I'll start them up so you can hear them purr a bit. So I'll give this one a bit of a... It's going. Both running now, guys, so there's a massive difference in sound. It's idles, I feel it's much smoother and it sounds much nicer, whereas this is more of a dirt bike sort of sound. So it takes some time to warm up, whereas this one I found to be a bit better. Even this can take some time, but it sort of depends on the weather. So that will be my thoughts and opinions on the comparison between the 48cc 2-stroke and 35cc 4-stroke Honda Atom edges. So it's up to you to decide which one you want. I wouldn't say one of them is better than the other. They're just better at different things. But if I could only have one, as I said, that would be the one I'd take over this one. So sorry, Honda, but it just doesn't have the power for overgrown edges.